Every build has a story, and these two cars are no different. It starts with a vision, an idea of what could be. For some, a car is just a machine, but for us, it's something more. This is the story of two car enthusiasts, two Volkswagen Golf builds, and years of dedication to make these machines truly their own. But this wasn't an overnight transformation. It took years, setbacks, and a lot of trial and error to get here. Let's take it back to where it all started.
Hi, my name's Dean, and I've had my car for just over 10 years.
I'm Lewis, I'm a trimmer, and I have my own YouTube channel as well, Project 7. And I've had the car for just over a year. What got me into cars? I mean, I think it was the cliche naming the cars when you was a little kid before they drove past and stuff like that. I think my dad got me into cars a little bit. I think one of my first early memories, there used to be a Mark III VR6 I used to blast around the neighborhood when I was young. I always remembered that car, so it's probably stemmed from that car, to be fair. Why did I choose the Mark II? Well, before this car, I had a Golf Estate, which I'd sort of been modifying for about 4 years. I got to the point where I was finished with the build, so I wanted something different, something fresh, something to film for YouTube, something that has really good aftermarket support. And literally, I just got a message on Instagram, oh, I've got this Mark II. So I had a look at it and I ended up buying it.
What got me into cars? Well, I'd have to say my older brother. He started shows many years ago and I started going to the shows with him, and that's it, I was hooked. Couldn't wait to get my first car. Why I picked a Mark II Golf? Well, I've had Mark I and I've had a Mark IV, and I wanted to go back old school again, so that's the reason why I chose a Mark II. The condition of my car, let's just say it wasn't good. It had lots of rust and issues, and it needed a lot of work.
Yeah, the condition of mine was not the best. But for a 30-odd-year-old car, considering, I can't really complain. The paintwork was terrible, and mechanically, it needed a bit of love, but it was off the road for 10 years, so can't really expect too much. Well, the first thing I worked on was actually getting it road legal because, like I say, it was been off the road for almost 10 years. So the first thing I did was take it straight to the MOT station, lay out every problem, what's wrong with it, and then I can build a decent mechanical foundation, and then I can start building the car on top of that.
The first thing I worked on was just getting all the niggly bits so I could drive it for a while. I had it on the road for about 3 months, and then I started the process of stripping it back to a bare shell so I could see what was wrong with it and start the process from there.
I was born for it, I was made for it. Working before I was paid for it. Ain't no finish line, I'm trying to race to it. I'ma run it after the tape torn. Can't be easing up, I keep the speed. I need that paper busting out the ring. I don't just love it, I'm a fiend. That's why I'm never running out of steam. And yeah, I'm the pastor, but I'm a heathen. I gotta get it beat. Some bereavement, we ain't just in the lead, we the leads. And pushing it till we see every region, pedal the flow. Middle of the clip, let the head of the know. I got the temperature sweltering, never so effortless. Referencing what's in the toe. Don't mention my name, listen next to the ghost. Traumatized through all the years.
Some of the biggest challenges with a car, I would say, first was the engine, because I've never really touched an engine before, so I had to learn how to strip it, how to find things that might be wrong with it and what I need to repair it. The second big challenge, I would say, was probably trying to get the car painted, which is a problem when you want custom paint. Nobody wants to do it.
The biggest challenge for me, and you'll know this, is the wheels. They were an absolute pain in the neck. Every single aspect to getting the wheels fitting, there was an issue. Solve an issue, something else comes up. You solve an issue, that comes up. Generally, you chuck a set of wheels on, you put a few spacers on, get the fitment tweaked in, but these wheels on this car were absolute pain. And that is something people don't really see, but getting the fitment dialed in as it is now is you know, it was an absolute pain. The most satisfying part, I think that's quite hard to answer, especially as a car enthusiast, because generally when you get another mod done and you take a step back and you look at it and you're just like, wow, I actually made that. So I think every time you do something new, something else becomes more satisfying than another. I think the most satisfying bit would actually be when it was cleaned, had the new wheels on, the exhaust, the boot build was all done, and I just took a step back and I was just so proud of myself. Guys, this is my first time seeing these center caps on. I cannot believe it. Oh my God, I can't wait to dump this car down now. I was literally too excited to put the tyre dressing on. I just wanted to show you guys my reaction because, oh my gosh.
I think the most satisfying part on my car was when the engine fired up for the first time after rebuilding it. Everything had gone right for the first time. The only niggly bit I had was crank sensor was not working and it didn't start at first, but then we replaced that and she fired straight up. She sounded so nice and it was just a relief that something's gone right for a change. And I was on the way from there. Everything was going all right.
Are you recording? Ready?
Well, the colour, I've always liked my custom paints. My first Mark 1, that was Candy from House of Colour. So I've always wanted something that stood out. I've always been into my reds. So again, I've gone for a custom pearl this time. And again, it's got to be red because it stands out the most.
How did I decide on the colour it is now? White. Well, the car already came white from factory and I wanted to keep it within a decent budget. If I'd have changed the colour, I would have had to get the whole car painted from bare shell. So just to keep the build simple, I just redid the factory colour. How did I decide on the exterior? Well, it loosely stems back almost 10 years ago when I had my first Mark II. It was a big bumper just like Dean's. And I always said the big bumpers look better, but if the small bumpers had body kits, more specifically the BBS one, I think they look better. And I remember seeing an Auto Finesse build years and years ago, and it's always stuck in my head. So I always said, if I ever had a small bumper Mark II, BBS kit. So the idea was already there. So as soon as I bought the car, BBS kit straight away. Everything else was the smoothing of the parts. I think it was just the build just spiraling out of control. It was supposed to be a simple chuck a few bits on, get the interior done, and then it just went, oh, I'll get that done, oh, I'll get that done, I'll get that done. You know what it's like. So it just went crazy from there.
What have I done to the engine and performance? Engine-wise, the engine was completely taken out, stripped back down to bare bones and rebuilt back up again. Painted it all myself. One of the things that I've always wanted to try was polishing. So I polished all the headers, which I've never done before, inlet manifold, and putting the engine back together again and making sure that it kept in concept with the rest of the car, so coloured match the engine covers with the paint of the exterior and in the engine bay, and just tried to make it as neat and tidy as possible and less cluttered. So I had to do a white up, which was challenging in itself, plated all the engine bay, got rid of all the factory seal, and in the end just looked very decluttered and super clean.
Well, my engine story is not as fancy as Dean's because I haven't actually done anything yet, but I do have plans in the future to do it. I think my main focus with the build was the engine is running, it can take me to the shows. The engine is sort of something I can do at the end because the bonnet's down most of the time anyway. So I think once everything else had been done, then I can start getting a nice fancy engine in, but no plans as of yet.
Blow a bag on you. She want Benihana. The f is Mickey D's. It's VVS around my neck and I can barely breathe. All that mean mugging, that's how my team coming. I'm popping out in blonde money like I breed money. I good off the now she walk funny. I got millions in the bank, I want some more money. I'm here, bossed up. I ain't them. I'm here, still pressure, still trim. I'm here, flipping cash like cartwheels. I'm here, I shoot my shot of butter rim. I'm here, bossed up. I ain't them.
How does the car drive now from when I first bought it? Well, actually worse. Because of the air suspension, because of the camber, because of the stretch tires. Obviously, it's not going to make for a better driving car, but mechanically, it drives so much better because I've renewed all the steering, all of the brakes, new bearings, everything under the car is brand new. So it's as new as you can get it to being a Mark II. So better and worse at the same time.
How does the car drive now? Well, 100 times better than what it did when I first got it. It was a bit wayward, so everything was upgraded from suspension to polys, to the wheels, to the anti-roll bars. Everything was upgraded for a better fitting and for better driving. Coilovers went on because I've always had coilovers in the past on previous vehicles and they work with no issues on the road. The stance on the car, again, was when I've lowered it and keeps the road pretty well, and I don't get any movement when I'm steering. How did I approach the interior design? Well, as a joiner, I'm quite good at making most things. So I started off with, basically I removed the back seats because I don't really carry passengers. So I wanted to have a simple boot build that wasn't over the top for the class of the car. So I set out with a drawer in at first, seeing what I could get in. And because I removed the battery and the water pump to the back, I didn't have any room in the original wheel well, which is where I was going to put the sub, but then I changed the location of that. And I just started off with simple things to get it in, placing where the sub, the amp was going. I only wanted one amp on show, so the other one is hidden. And just went on from there with a bit of soft lighting. From there, I wanted to have a custom interior done, which is when I met Lewis. And from there, we saw some Recaro seats because I've always wanted to put Recaros in. That's before I had Sparcos. So we saw some seats, and then Lewis took over and designed all the interior for me and did a beautiful job.
How did I approach the interior designs of mine to start off with? It took 2 months to actually get an idea into fruition, because if you're a specialist in an area, you've got your options are endless. You know, Dean being a joiner, he's got a million different designs ticking over in his head. And that was the hardest bit of the build, is actually setting on an idea. So it took 2 months, I didn't rush it. I wanted something that was in your face, but it was tastefully done. And then I started sourcing all of the interior parts. The interior itself didn't cost me a lot of money. The front seats were 80 quid and the rear seats were 40 quid. So people watching, you know, it might look expensive, but you can do stuff like this really cheap. And that was my main focus. If I can save a bit of cash here and there and not just literally throw money at the wall, that was my main focus. The interior itself took absolutely ages. Both interiors actually took quite a while. Mine took longer because I've got more interior panels. Dean's obviously got rear boot. His rear seats have all been cut out and stuff. Mine took around 200 hours. Dean's took about 150. So a lot of effort, but so satisfying seeing them both together as well. Just really proud moment. I've always had a vision in my head as a young lad to have a one-stop garage. In the UK, it's a little less realistic to do something like that, but I've been a mechanic for almost 10 years, and I thought I want to learn a new trade, something different. And the good thing about trimming is I can do it from home, which means there's no overheads, and I can practice in a small area. The thing with painting or welding or anything like that, you need a big premises, you need lots of tools, it can be very expensive. So I wanted to do something that was a little different, but it's something I can sort of grow into. So I got into trimming.
How did we meet?
Oh, thank you.
It was last year. I first saw Lewis' car actually here at HQ, but I didn't actually quite get to meet him until we went to a show last year at a Classic VW show, which we actually finally met, which is when we started talking about his car, how much I loved his interior, which is when Lewis said to me that's what he does for work, which was good news in my eyes because I've been looking for a trimmer someone to come and do my car, and we just hit up from there, started talking about cars, talking about ideas for the trimming of my car. And then just from there, we've been quite close and done stuff together, done shows together, help each other on each other's cars, and everything's just gone from there, actually.
The car community impacted my journey of cars. I mean, if it wasn't for the car community, I don't think I would be doing it. The people like Dean you meet across from completely different areas doing different things, you know, looking at both cars. We've got completely different tastes, and that is just one model of car. You know, you've got lots of different models and genres and different styles, and that's what I love about the car community as well. And also we're sort of all in it together. We're all trying to do our own thing. We're all trying to do things that make us happy. And when you have a group of friends that are always there for you, give you a hand if you need it, don't ask for any favors back, they're just there when you ask, that's the sort of thing that it goes a mile. And without those people would really struggle. You need people like that in your life, and you also need to be like that with other people. You need to bring people up when they're feeling down. Building cars is not easy at all, and yeah, you need those people around. So without the car community, I probably wouldn't be in cars, to be honest.
Because I've been doing this for many years now, I've nearly 25 years. I've met many people on the way from all over the world, from different car shows, and the car community for me is everything, because we all talk about cars, we all explain what we've done, how we got there, what we've done, and the same with other people. And I think when you meet other people and you hear their stories too, you realise that the things that happen to you with your car happen to everybody when they deal with the car. And the stories that I hear from other people, it's great. You know, you can become a bond with other people because of your cars. And I think because you've got that bond, your friendship takes place, even though you probably might not even see each other that often, but you stay in touch on social media, you meet each other at car shows, and it's like you've only saw them yesterday. So it's a good thing to have, apart from, you know, your car itself, you know, gives you smiles when it's all done. But when you go to the shows and you meet people, or even come to a car meet on a regular basis, you meet the usual faces, and it's nice to see them, you know, that ideas with the cars are still going on with the cars. And if it weren't for the cars, we all won't be here. My first big show, that was many years ago. With my Mark 1 Golf I had at the time, my first big show, I kind of got very lucky because the paint I had on my car was from House of Colour. I actually got seconded to be on their stand. So my first big show was at GTI International, which isn't around anymore, but it was an awesome show back in the day, one of the biggest of the year. People came all the way from Europe, all types of people, different cars, but it was awesome. It was an awesome show. And to be on a stand for the first time, it was nerve-wracking because I had to make sure that my car was perfect, not only for me, but for the guys that I was representing at the time. And it was just brilliant. The sun was shining, the people I met, it was awesome. And I've just gone from there, changed the cars over the years, but the same feeling has always been there. The apprehension of first getting your car to show, what are people going to think? But it always turns out fine in the end, and people always, you know, happy to see you, that you know, and go from there.
Hey, yeah, I've been laying low and getting to some plays with the bros. People hitting me about so and so, but say it ain't so. I've been out the way, I stay away from stunting the growth. Cause the pros got a pro, it's all under control. Moving militant, my soldiers, we all stick to the code. Sticks and stones, broken bones, put a tag on they toe. White flags from the enemies, they six in a hole. Cause the pros got a pro, it's all under control.
So what was it like to prepare for my first big show? Well, actually, Dean was there through most of the process. It was actually recently with Ultimate Dubs. That was the first big show I've ever had to prepare for, because it was an indoor show, and it was Ultimate Dubs means a lot to me because I've been going on and off for about 10 years. So to be accepted for an indoor spot, I completely lost my head. So it was a mad rush to get the wheels done, which was an absolute pain, get the exhaust done, and then Dean came over and, you know, really smashed the boot build. So it was stressful, it was exciting, it was nerve-wracking. It was every emotion us car enthusiasts go through to prepare for that show. I think mostly was stressful, which clouded all the nerves because I didn't have time to be nervous. I was too busy trying to get the car together. But when I was prepping the car, gave it a wipe down, and I actually took a step back, I was crying inside. I was so proud. I was really happy, and I couldn't wait to...
What a day it was.
It was an amazing day. It was a really good day, yeah. And to have my first big show at Ultimate Dubs, which has a really special place in my heart. I actually come away with 2 awards. best wheels and top 15, which even playing it back now in my head, it doesn't feel real, because those wheels, like I've mentioned in the interview many times, is they've been such an absolute pain. And the idea of those wheels has spanned back 10 years. I used to have a set a while back and they've just never been able to fit on a car. And I was just so stubborn to make them fit, and they're on, and I got best wheels was
Made it all worth it.
yeah. And obviously the help from Dean to get the boot build done, which would have helped with the top 15. Yeah, I was just high on just happy emotions. It's been a really tough couple of years for me, and these last moments and people like Dean helping me through it, it's really lifted me back up again. So
I'm ready for the next one.
yeah,
The next big plans for my car is,
never ends.
one thing I've been wanting to do for a few years is a new paint job. To change it up a little bit. What colour, I don't know, but it probably will be a custom paint at the end of the day. Also, after I went to Ultimate Dubs at the weekend, I did see something I did quite like, and I can't say I'm saying this, but I might be switching to air ride.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when you said it.
So, yeah, watch this space.
We've changed him. Next big plans for the Mark II is getting the engine sorted. Now the exterior is 98% complete. There's probably little changes I want to make here and there. It's ready for the engine now. The engine is the only thing that lets it down personally. It's a very old engine. It struggles to start in the morning, a bit like me. And it could do with a revamp, a more modern engine, just something that can start on the button and can take me all around the country without hassle. So that's probably the next thing. Where do I see my builds in the next couple of years? I would say I'd probably be more ambitious, more likely to do all of the work myself. I did have a company do the paint work because I know nothing about it. Look Back Classic and Custom did a little bit of fab work and the paint. So the welding side I'd like to get more into and do more of the work myself. I'd like to be more ambitious with just anything that I'm doing on the car, more custom fabrication, and just let my ideas go crazy. I'd just like to do one that no one's ever seen before, which is quite hard to do in the scene nowadays, but that's where I am.
Where do I see my car evolving? Well, I'm always changing things up on the car because I do a lot of shows and you have to change things up every now and again. So maybe a different engine for a change. So yeah, what I want, I don't know. Maybe something a little bit quicker, or maybe keep this engine side to supercharge it.
So now this is the bonus question. On 3, answer at the same time.
Okay.
What's better for a Mark II, air ride or coilover?
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Air ride.
Yeah, we changed him. We've converted him. Yes.
I've been converted, yes.
Yes.
It does have its advantages, I suppose, when you need to get over something, or especially in your case, you needed to get out your actual garage, but
the practical applications for air ride. I mean, there's a lot of people that say bags are for groceries, and it's the same old the saying. But the practicality you get from air suspension, when you test fitting wheels, you can just jack the wheel up.
I think with air ride, when it first came out with me, I thought it would be a fad. I thought it would fade out quite quickly, but it didn't. It's actually become part of the car scene now, is more than anything.
Yep.
And the more I look at it, the more I see the advantages of it. I've always had coilovers because they've worked and they've never let me down. I've never had any issues, and I've had them in my cars for a long time. But as technology moves on, air ride has also moved on, and some of the things I've seen is, slowly converting me to think about going down that road. Different look from the car, maybe. So, watch this space.
I think one thing to note as well with air suspension is, as a car enthusiast, most of us like their cars low. And the problem with being so low are the roads, dodging potholes, speed humps. And if you have your car slammed on the deck, you're either scraping the underneath, putting an hole in something, or you're having to go a completely different route to avoid that specific area. But with air suspension, not that you're going to pile through the potholes or speed humps, but you can just set the ride height up. So you're not worrying about scratching the lip. Exhaust parts are not going to be falling off. And it offers the practicality of both sides. No, it's not going to throw you around the Nürburgring in a set time, but you're going to enjoy it and you can be practical with it and you can get it on the deck when you want it to and drive normal when you want it to.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. We're done.
All right, could get warm.
Wake up and lace up my sneakers, I'm always dressed to kill. Each time I speak, I'm at peak to bring me some extra ears. Feel it in my soul, in my sleep, I breathe till the winds get sealed. Don't go while the rest sit still, beast mode on a run all year. Work till the funds all here, can't stop till the path all clear. Slim run a sweatshop and a pet shop, cause the dogs all here. Even in the dark, I